Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnayos Rosh Hashanah, and today we'll be doing two Mishnayos, Hey and Vav 5 and 6. Mishnah Hey. Bein Shnira Ba'alil, Bein Shlanira Ba'alil. Whether the moon is clearly visible or whether it's not. Machal and Alavis HaShabbos, we still allow the witnesses to desecrate Shabbos. So remember yesterday's Mishnah, we spoke about when, even though according to Torah law, the witnesses who want to come and testify about the new moon could desecrate Shabbos if that's what it takes to be able to get there. We said that the sages only allowed it during 2 months. Now the Mishnah says when we allow the witnesses to desecrate, that is whether the moon is clearly visible or not. Now, if the question of clearly visible is, basically how high above the horizon is the moon? If it's high above the horizon, it's nice and clear. If it's lower, right, it's closer to the horizon, then the glare of the setting sun is gonna not make it so visible. Either way, we say that we would allow the witness to desecrate Shabbos. Now, what difference should it make if it's clear or not? And the answer is, if the moon was not clearly visible, witnesses may certainly desecrate Shabbos to come and testify about it, because there is a significant chance that no one else will do so. But it's hard to see, who knows who's seeing it. This Tana holds that even if the moon was clearly visible, witnesses may desecrate Shabbos as permitted under biblical law, despite the fact that their testimony will probably not be necessary. If it's way up there in the sky and it's clear, right, and you need to desecrate Shabbos to get here, you can argue that we probably won't need you.
Yeah.
It's a very good chance that we're not going to need you. So therefore, maybe you shouldn't come and desecrate Shabbos. The answer is, although the rabbis held that the biblical leniency should not be applied in every situation, they allowed desecration of a Shabbos in this case. They were concerned that if witnesses would be prevented from coming when the moon is clearly visible, they might be discouraged from coming at any time, even when the moon is not so visible. Meaning, if you tell them you can't come on Shabbos, they're going to say you can't come on Shabbos no matter what. And that's going to be a problem when the moon isn't so visible. To prevent this, they allowed witnesses to come in all cases, regardless of the moon's degree of visibility. That's the first opinion of the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi says, if it's clearly visible, in Machal and Alavis HaShabbos, we cannot desecrate Shabbos. We do not allow desecration of a Shabbos for it. And again, although according to Torah law be permitted, the sages not allow. So the Tanna Kama says no matter what we allow them to come, whether the moon is visible or not, it basically says only if the moon is not so visible. Now, Mishnah above is a continuation. It happened once that there were 40 pairs of witnesses, 40 pairs of witnesses that had passed through. Passed through is going to see where. The Ikvad Rabbi Akiva Belud. Rabbi Akiva held them up in the city of Lud. Meaning 40 pairs of witnesses passed through Lud who saw the new moon, who wanted to go testify about the new moon, but it was going to take but it would involve desecration of Shabbos for them to go. Rabbi Akiva said, "You're staying here. You're staying here for Shabbos." He didn't let them go. That means that Rabbi Akiva holds like the previous opinion, he holds like Rabbi Yossi, that there are going to be times where we don't allow them, because it doesn't mean here that this story that Rabbi Akiva held them back. Why do you hold them back? Why didn't you allow them to desecrate Shabbos? The answer is because the moon was visible. And since the moon was visible, they may not desecrate Shabbos. That's what happened over here. It wasn't like there's no such halacha, no such law that never going to desecrate Shabbos. And it's not talking about the other months, because there would be no reason to have to mention this Mishnah. The reason we're mentioning this act of Rabbi Akiva is to show Rabbi Akiva followed the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, which would mean that the case here was the moon was visible and he held them back from going. Shalach loy Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel sent Rabbi Akiva a message. If you stop the public from coming to testify about the new moon, you will cause them to stumble in the future. If you don't allow these witnesses to proceed, to come out, that's going to be a future time when they're really going to be needed, and they're not going to go. If it comes out now, they started going, and you tell them, no, you're not. You don't go on Shabbos. Then it comes out in the future when they're really going to be needed and could go. they won't go. And therefore, Rabbi Gamliel sent Mesh Rabbi Akiva that he disagreed with what he did. The way they explain it, the way the Bartanur explains it, and the way they bring it down here in the notes, if witnesses see that they are not taken seriously, they may not come again. Right here, they're coming to testify. And they said, no, you can't go. Means they're not taking their testimony seriously. That's how they're going to take it. They're not going to bother coming, And therefore, Rabbi Gamliel said that there was a mistake to do that, which means Rabbi Gamliel holds like the previous opinion that says that even when the moon is clearly visible, we allow the witnesses to come. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.